Rajim. We seek the protection of Allah from Shaitan, who has been expelled from God's kingdom of special grace and mercy because of his satanic arrogance and defiance. If we avoid the satanic habit of arrogance, whatever we know to be true by the guidance of the God-given intellect and the divine revelation and the human conscience, we submit. And if we avoid the satanic habit of defiance, whatever we know to be evil and wrong and false, by the guidance of the God-given intellect, divine revelation, and human conscience, we don't commit. And if we have reliance on God, definitely we'll get the strength to be able to recognize, to resist, and to overcome any satanic temptation. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We humbly seek the grace and guidance from God because He is Allah, the absolute perfect being. Any perfection anyone wants to achieve can only be possible if Allah provides it. And we seek His grace and guidance because He is Rahman. His Rahmah, His love, His care, His attention reaches out to each and every entity in creation, sustains it, and enables it to reach its goal of creation. And we ask for grace and guidance because He is Rahim. His extra love and reward and support is available, both here in the dunya and in the akhirah, for those amongst us who believe in Him and who follow His commands. Alhamdulillah, all praise belongs to God because of all the bounties He provides us personally and others related to us and to everything else in the universe. In fact, we praise Him because He is absolute in His perfection. والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطاهرين. And we send our salutations and greetings and expression of loyalty and love for the Holy Prophet and his holy progeny. The Holy Prophet being the final messenger, we send our salutations to all the messengers, and especially the last one, because he is the best, he is the closest to God, the one who knows God more than anybody else can ever possibly know God. And we send our salutations on his holy progeny, who are the next best after him. Respected elders, my younger brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. We said that the emphasis on aza and mourning and grieving for the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, and especially Imam Hussein alayhi salam, is something that the Imams themselves have instructed, they have practiced, they have encouraged, and they have explained to us the reward and the effect that it should have on our lives. The empathy that we should develop towards the suffering of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, the emotional bond that is created. And once we recognize them as the godly appointed representatives, then through azah we begin to feel our hatred for the injustices that were committed against them. And we begin to appreciate and praise their virtues and their excellent attributes which they displayed and demonstrated in Karbala. And this brings us therefore closer to them and facilitates our loyalty and commitment to follow their example. And therefore we need to remind ourselves that in this history of Karbala, why did the movement occur? And why is it that the Imams alayhi salam emphasize that we should remember this every year? Because we need to draw lessons which can apply in our lives for all times. And one of the first statements that Imam alayhi salam makes to declare his purpose and goal from this movement, in an environment where the majority were ready to either keep silent or run away or to compromise with Yazid. Imam alayhi salam was unique in his approach to confront and to refuse to surrender. In that wasiyah that he makes to Muhammad ibn Hanafiyya, we said that he declares his faith in the unity of God, in the existence of God, that this wasiyah, أن الحسين يشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله جاء بالحق من عند الحق. And Hussein also testifies that Muhammad is the closest servant to God and therefore the chosen messenger of God, the last messenger and the best messenger. And he has brought the final truth because the source is the absolute truth, and that is God. The belief in the messenger and the message, very important in this movement. He later on announces that I'm not making this movement an uprising and resistance and refusal to surrender because I seek personal glory or fame or power. No. Uridu, my aim is Islah. My aim is أن آمر بالمعروف وأنهى عن المنكر وأن أسير بسيرة جدي وأبي. I want to restore the seerah, the lifestyle, the traditions, the customs that have been ignored or distorted or misinterpreted or misapplied of the Prophet ﷺ and of Amirul Mu'mineen, who was the closest to the Prophet. So one of the pillars and the foundations of this movement is the belief and the acceptance and the submission to the Sunnah and the Seerah of the original, authentic, undistorted lifestyle of the Prophet ﷺ. In order to remind ourselves the necessity of why is it that a human being who has been created free and who has been given power of reasoning, the rational power that distinguishes him from other animals, that with the freedom to think, yet he is asked to submit to a higher authority. Well, that's the crux of the belief in Nubuwwah. We need to remind ourselves of the importance, because one of the big problems the Ummah was facing was that the Ummah did not accept the authority of the Imams of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. I am just like the Imam, if not better. And therefore I can understand what the Prophet said and did, and I can interpret and I can apply it by myself. And then we need to understand why is it that God chooses a person to become his representative and his messenger. In the Quran, there are several proofs mentioned for the necessity of there being a message and a divine message and a divine messenger. One of those proofs is, man, you are restricted and limited in your capacity and in your ability to be able to understand the whole of the truth. Yes, you've been given the power to think, to ask, to inquire, to explore, to discover. But then your ability to do that is not unlimited. You don't have access to all the truth. So the Quran says that, but your knowledge is limited. وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ Surah Bani Israel, Ayah 85. قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي. And then it qualifies and justifies. It says that وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِّنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. But you have very little knowledge that has been granted to you. There are a lot of things that are beyond your capacity. Or Surah Jumu'ah, which is mustahab to be recited today, Friday. هو الذي بعث بالأميين رسولا منهم. He is the one who has raised his chosen messenger from amongst a people who are illiterate. Illiterate is relative. In those days, uneducated. But compared to the status of the Prophet who has access to the unlimited, supreme, divine wisdom, Ummi in our times also includes the educated. The messenger has been sent with a message even for the educated community. Because in relation to the Prophet, they are uneducated. هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة, so that he may recite, so that he may spiritually develop them, so that he may explain the laws in the book, and so that he may guide them to the higher spiritual wisdom, hikmah. وَإِن كَانُوا مِن قَبْلُ لَفِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. And before the arrival of the Prophet, they were lost. Their own minds could not save them from adopting beliefs or characters or behaviors or lifestyles that were detrimental to them ultimately. Short term, it showed it had some gain and benefit to them, but they did not have the foresight and the profundity to be able to recognize and realize the long-term damage they would suffer. So they needed this Prophet. وَآخَرِينَ مِنْهُمْ. And not only the generation to whom the Prophet was sent, even others, لَمَّا يَلْحَقُوا بِهِمْ, who have not yet come, they will come in the future. In the future till the end of time, including our generations. وآخرين منهم لما يلحقوا بهم وهو العزيز الحكيم ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم. That's a great honor and a grace that Allah grants to whomsoever He wills. Whomsoever He wills, meaning whomsoever He discovers to be deserving to be chosen, to be given the task of becoming a messenger of God. So notice the Quran is using the argument that our knowledge is limited, and therefore we need guidance from high wisdom. اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق, the first surah. اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. Man, there are some things you cannot know, you don't know, and therefore you need high wisdom. It's interesting, science, despite all its discoveries, they have reached a point where they are admitting now that there are many things we don't know. And it's been a century we're looking for an answer and we have not yet found it. There's something known as dark matter and dark energy. The astronomers' biggest and most deepest mysteries which have not yet been solved is the issue of dark matter and dark energy. So they say about 80 years ago, one of the astronomers proposed the idea of the presence of dark matter. Dark matter is not something which is made up of photons, electrons, atomic particles, what they call nowadays the baryons. It's not made up of visible matter, meaning that it does not emit light for it to be visualized, nor does it absorb light like the black hole. It's invisible. And but it does exist, definitely, because the effect is there, they say. So the University of Durham Institute for Cosmology, Computational Cosmology, the astrophysicist there, Richard Macy, says that it's a bit embarrassing, you know. There are lots of theories around to explain what this dark matter is, but they're just theories. It could be any one of them, or it could be none of them. We don't know what it is. Most scientists believe dark matter is not made up of photons or electrons or atomic particles. So what is it made up of? We don't know. The proof, of course, came in early 1930s. The Swiss astronomer Fritz Zwicky noticed that there are certain galaxies out there that tend to move not individually but in clusters. So he said there must be some reason they're doing so. And he couldn't find the visible matter to explain this. So he said there is some force out there, some invisible matter that can explain this behavior of the galaxies. But he was ignored in the 30s. Later on in the 70s, this lady Vera Rubin, she observed something strange. She observed that, if you go to the solar system, the planets which are near the sun, under the gravity of the sun, they move faster. The planets which are further away with lesser gravitational effect move slower. But in the case of the galaxies, she discovered that the ones which are further away are moving at a speed equal to the galaxies which are near the core and the center. So she said there must be some invisible reason to explain this. And they were saying something is exerting a gravitational effect. So they're saying whatever it is, dark matter is something which is keeping in hold. It is the glue of the galaxy, keeps the galaxies together. It is present right from the time of the Big Bang. It is the one which pulls the matter together so that a star can be formed, a galaxy can be formed, invisible matter. It's the skeleton, it's the scaffold of the universe. Wow. Fundamental architecture of the universe. So we say, Mr. Astronomer, what is this matter? He says, well, the universe is made up of about 30% matter, 70% energy. Of the 30% matter, only 15% is visible. 85% of the 30% of the matter of the universe is dark matter. That's a big chunk. That's 5 times more than what's visible. And they're saying it's there. 30% is matter in the universe. 70% is energy, mysterious form of energy. They call it the dark energy. So now, they're saying we know what dark matter is not. We don't know what dark matter is. It's not gamma rays, it is not the macho. Macho means the massive, compact, halo objects. It's not the black holes, it's not the brown dwarfs, it's not the white dwarfs. Because none of this can explain 85% of the content of the universe. No, it's not these known objects. Could it be neutrino particles, axion particles? They can't fully explain the behavior of dark matter. Could it be the WIMPs? Maybe. It's amazing behavior of dark matter in that if solid matter impacts another object of solid matter, there's a crash. But dark matter interpenetrates. There's no crash. The behavior is strange. So now they're trying to investigate. There is a 27-kilometer long underground large collider, the Hadron Collider. They're planning to conduct experiments there to find out the presence of dark matter. But the irony, of course, is dark matter. It's invisible. So they're going to confirm its presence by its absence. Or maybe they find nothing at all. So maybe dark matter is not particles. It's something else. So they're using antimatter detectors and telescopes and the colliders and the gamma ray detectors. And they managed to analyze thousands of galaxies to try to find out what this matter is. And a bigger problem than dark matter is dark energy. They've observed that as the universe is expanding, as you move away from the center, you would expect lesser gravitational effect, and therefore slowing down of the galaxies as they move away. But they've discovered something else. The galaxies are moving even faster as they go further away. So now they're saying, not only do we have dark matter, but there's something known as dark energy that is propelling this faster movement of the galaxies at the fringe. Incidentally, 2011, the Nobel Prize for Physics was given for this discovery. So now they're telling us, in 2011, NASA reported a 5-year-long study which was done on 200,000 galaxies over 7-year billion period in cosmic time. And they have confirmed independently that it is dark energy which is driving the universe apart. So now they're telling us the 21st century is full of surprises. We're going to look for the answer, what is dark matter and what is dark energy? Majority of the universe is made up of these two. So anybody who boasts and claims science has all the answers has got a big question mark to answer. And this is cosmology. In literally every field you go to, there will be questions which are not answered. There will be theories which are being modified, past ones falsified, new evidence is being found. And therefore, man is beginning to realize that his capacity and his ability to know the reality of the universe out there is not unlimited, it's not guaranteed. I like this example given by one of our scholars. He says, if you take a torch and you shine it on a dark ground, if it's near the ground, there's a small circle of illumination and a small area of darkness. But raise the light and you have a bigger circle of illumination and a bigger area of contact with darkness. More the man discovers and understands the universe, more the questions and more the realization. There's a lot out there we don't know. No, but the Quran doesn't say that's the reason prophets have been sent, that you don't know. Well, go ahead, discover, explore, inquire, you'll get to know more. The Quran says there are certain things not only you don't know, you can't ever know. It's beyond the ability of the senses and the faculties and the capacities which man has been given to be able to understand and to discover. So look at this ayah in the Quran, in Surah Nisa. ولولا ayah number 113 ولولا فضل الله عليك ورحمته لهمت طائفة منهم أن يضلوك. And had it not been for God's grace over you, O Prophet, and His special mercy, there are groups out there who want to influence you and pressurize you, to misguide you, to misinform you. وَمَا يُضِلُّونَ إِلَّا أَنفُسَهُمْ. But they will fail because we are protecting you. وَمَا يَضُرُّونَكَ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. and they cannot harm you because we are guarding you. وَأَنزَلَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةِ, and we have sent down the book of laws and the deeper wisdom, which is the foundation and the basis of these laws. وَعَلَّمَكَ مَا لَمْ تَكُنْ تَعْلَمُ, and we taught you that which you didn't know. No. We taught you that which you could never ever know. وَكَانَ فَضْلُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكَ عَظِيمًا, and surely the grace of God on you is tremendous, is huge. So essentially, the conflict that arose in the Ummah was between these two attitudes. The attitude which says that, oh well, the Holy Prophet was an ordinary person, God chose him. Anybody here, we can give you a message which is drafted by the intellectuals. All you have to go is, tomorrow there's a meeting in the Essex Police Center. You just have to go out there and read it for the invited guests. That's one attitude. Anybody can take a drafted message and read and deliver. Versus no, a person who is educated, intelligent, understands the problems, and therefore can go and read and explain and defend and argue and present intelligently. The conflict that took place in the Ummah was between these two opinions. I can be like the Prophet, I can be like the Imam. So what's so great about the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam? No, I can understand and interpret and apply and get the deeper, profound ideals and values and wisdom of God's teachings by myself. Versus no, those people who say there are some people who are purified, they're exclusive, they're chosen, they're beloved, they're close to God. It's open to all, but not all can reach that high. So it's not that God is unfair. It's that our abilities differ. There are those amongst us who are the best, and therefore they are the ones who are chosen. And now therefore observe what happens as a result. So Imam Hussein alayhi salam, we saw yesterday that he bid farewell to the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to Imam Hassan, to the Holy Lady, his mother, and he deposits the heritage and the legacy with Salama. And he departs from Medina to go to Mecca. He leaves towards the end of Rajab. He arrives in the early part of the month of Sha'ban. And on his departure and on his arrival, he recites an ayah which resembles the ayah recited by Musa alayhi salam. When Musa alayhi salam escapes from Fir'aun, because now he's being hunted for that accidental manslaughter that has occurred. So, in Surah Qasas, ayah number 21, Allah says, فَخَرَجَ مِنْهَا خَائِفًا يَتَرَقَّبْ. Musa alayhi salam left in a state of fear that he could be hunted down. يَتَرَقَّبْ, he was very cautious, very vigilant. قَالَ رَبِّ نَجِّنِي مِنَ الْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ. Oh Allah, protect me from these oppressors. They will wrongfully arrest me, wrongfully prosecute me, and wrongfully execute me. This is exactly the situation of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And he recites the exact verse as the warith of Musa alayhi salam. When he arrives in Mecca, again, when Musa alayhi salam arrives in Madian on his journey, he again makes a dua, which Imam alayhi salam also repeats. وَلَمَّا تَوَجَّهَ تلقاء مدين قال عسى ربي أن يهديني سواء السبيل. And when Musa alayhi salam migrates and proceeds towards Madian, is present-day Jordan, somewhere, a place known as Ma'an. Musa alayhi salam had to undergo that long trek in the desert. Coincidentally, Egypt is nothing but a desert. We're flying into Cairo. It's a narrow strip of settlement, just near the river. Right. The rest of Egypt, 1 million square kilometers. It's a huge country, but uninhabited. Musa alayhi salam had to trek across a vast expanse of desert. So he asked, Lord, Yahdini sawa as-sabil, Lord, guide me and show me, because you are the all-caring, all-cherishing Lord. Show me the best path. Show me the nearest path to that which is my safety and my guidance. Look at the dependence on God at every step. I say that the Imam Hussein alayhi salam made istikhara at the grave of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This is the other istikhara that Imam makes. Oh Lord, you may give me what's khair and show me where best to go. Once he arrives in Mecca, Abdullah bin Zubayr, recall, he has already fled before. He has already arrived in Mecca. Abdullah bin Zubayr also wanted to oppose Yazid and establish an alternative power base in Mecca. Unfortunately, when Imam Hussein alayhi salam arrives, he feels a little intimidated, because now people all are going to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Mecca obviously is the center, al-Qura. This place is the place where people come for Umrah, and therefore for Hajj also during the Hajj season. So Abdullah bin Zubayr apparently also begins to attend Imam Hussein alayhi salam's gatherings and listens to the hadith and prays salah with him. But the interesting thing that happens when Imam alayhi salam is in Mecca is that letters begin to arrive from Kufa in the month of Ramadan. So he arrives in Sha'ban. In a month or so, several thousands of letters begin to come, flow in from Kufa. So it seems the Shia had assembled in Kufa, and once they learned about Imam's movement to Mecca, they said, we are his Shia, we believe in his authority. نحن أنتم شيعته وشيعة أبيه إن كنتم تعلمون أنكم ناصروه ومجاهدو عدوه فاكتبوا إليه. Remember, we had approached Imam Hussein alayhi salam, they say, that why don't you come to Kufa and we make an uprising against Muawiyah? Imam Hussein alayhi salam had told us no, because there was a peace treaty signed with Imam Hassan to which he was bound to abide. But after Muawiyah we will see. Well, now we see he's already gone to Makkah. Now is the time to write to him. So they write, the loyal Shia, that we are all ready, we're assembled, we accept you as our leader. We are not attending the Friday prayers. Who's qualified to lead the Friday prayers? In the fiqh of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, it has to be a competent, legitimate, just ruler or his representative, not any person who can go and support, let's say, an illegitimate authority. We don't attend the khutbah of the governor in Medina. We're waiting for you, come over. It seems the whole of Kufa, or the majority of the people in Kufa, were in a mindset whereby they wanted to show their support for Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And therefore, these messages were sent through messengers who came, and history mentions their names. They came one after another to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So now what does he do? Does he say, well, thank you very much for writing me these letters, but I don't think so, I should come over to Kufa, so ignore the letter? That would be unfair. Here are people saying we're ready to accept you, and you say, I ignore, I don't accept you. No. He doesn't even tell them, you take power, show me your commitment and loyalty, take power from the governor. Prove to me you are deserving followers, then I'll come over. He doesn't even do that. He says, no, I'll send my messenger to you. Muslim bin Aqil bin Abi Talib is sent. But as we all know the story, what went wrong. Initially they came and declared their bay'ah to Muslim. Later on, when Ibn Ziyad enters from Basra, Ibn Ziyad was governor in Basra. Yazid sends him a message that Hussein a.s. has come to Kufa. Our spies are telling us that there are commitments and loyalties being expressed to him from Kufa. Go over and take charge on Kufa and squash and suppress this movement of support for Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So Ibn Ziyad comes to Kufa, and with these three weapons that have been used throughout history to control people. The weapon of money, some people are bought off. The weapon of threat. If you dare oppose the government, not only you, but your family will perish. So they use the weapon of fear, they use the weapon of bribery, and of course with others, simple-minded people, they use the weapon of propaganda, media, play with their minds, and convince them that Yazid is the one who should be followed. So yes, Hussein alayhi salam is Sayyid Shabab Ahl al-Jannah. As a Muslim we accept that because the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that. It's there in the hadith, you can't deny that. But there's a hadith also, it says that the Prophet says that you should never ever rebel and oppose and rise up and resist against the governor who is ruling you, even if the governor is unjust. So nobody questions, excuse me, does the Prophet really say that? But does it conform to what the Quran teaches us about who should be ruling us? Nobody questions, and they blindly accept. With these three weapons, and these three weapons have been used all the time, even in our times. Let me give you an example. Those who critically evaluate the role of media, they say that whoever controls the media will control the mind. People are just like sheep, and the TV is their shepherd. And besides, we're living in an age of information overload. We have constant access to huge amounts of information. We're overwhelmed. So we are now almost confused how to even think, and how to feel, and how to digest, and how to react to all this information that's being bombarded on us. And the media is biased. It's biased towards sensationalism, it's biased towards violence, it's biased towards laziness. In fact, if the media did not distort reality, one of the critics of the media, she says that, I really think that if only for 1 week in the United States we saw the true face of war, we saw how people's limbs are being torn apart, and we saw how kids are blown apart, just for 1 week, I'm sure war would be eradicated. Instead, what we see in the US media, she says, is a video war game. We've lost the sensitivity to the horror of the violence of war. Not only we're desensitized, it's normal. In fact, we have the lust for blood now. We feel glamour and pride when we see American weapons being used to fight an American war out there somewhere. So out there somewhere, but you're dealing with human beings. That's not any more important. Or this Christian priest criticizes in his book, The Gagging of God. He says that, unfortunately, in the Western countries, we have very little consensus over what is true morality. Instead, now we have the media that decides for us what's good and what's bad. Religion is not the source. No other authority is the source. It's the media now is the source of telling us what's good and what's bad. And So the moral questions are discussed in talk shows. And the purpose of talk shows is not to educate, it's to entertain. In fact, it's to even shock. It's to make us not think. So when opera becomes the arbiter of public morality, when we seek opinion about the morality of abortion, homosexuality, and anything else, any other lifestyle, and we accept a movie star or a celebrity's opinion as the basis of what is good and what is bad, so opera begins to shape more of the nation's grasp of what's right and what's wrong than the pulpits of the churches. Personal ethics, social ethics, they've been removed from truth, the realms of truth. They've been relativized. Morality is relative. What you feel is good is good. Morality has been relativized. No, it has been democratized. What the majority feel is good. No, morality has been trivialized. So now we've sort of lost the sense of what's good and what's bad from solid, authoritative principles to personal emotions. If a country is ruled by law, and if the laws are made by politicians, and if the politicians are being brought to power by voters, and if the voters are being controlled by public opinion and surveys, and if public opinion is controlled by the media, so the ultimate king is the media. Do you see how powerful it is in controlling a population? Would you be surprised? Kufa, where 20,000 declared bay'ah to Muslim bin Aqil, Hussein al-Sayyid Shabab Ahl al-Jannah, yet over time they switched sides. What went wrong? The same factors that were operating then are operating today, but in a much more sophisticated way. So Karbala is important. We need to sit and analyze and learn the lessons. Today is the third Eid. The second day is the day when the caravan arrives in Karbala. But in order to give you a quick summary of how it arrives, when the news reaches in Mecca that Imam Hussein alayhi salam could be assassinated with paid assassins, he departs from Mecca before the Hajj season on the 8th of Zul-Hijjah, and he moves towards Kufa. As he's approaching Kufa, there's a place known as Sharaf, where Imam Hussein alayhi salam asks the desert nomads, what is the news? What's happening in Kufa? And those nomads tell him, Wallahi ma nadri, we don't know what's happening inside Kufa, but we know this much. غير أن لا نستطيع أن نلج ولا نخرج. We are not allowed to enter Kufa or leave Kufa. Everything is under surveillance now, strict control. Ibn Ziyad is in power. And around the time when they're moving towards Kufa, they notice from a distance an oasis. And they say, Allahu Akbar! You're traveling in a desert and you find an oasis, nothing better. Two members of the Bani Asad tribe, Bani Asad tribe is a tribe that has settled down in Kufa, Habib bin Madahir Asadi. But unfortunately, Hurmala also is Asadi. These Bani Asad were settled around Kufa. They knew the terrain, the geography. They said, no, there can't be an oasis here. So Imam alayhi salam said, so tell us, what do you think it is? And they said, it seems to be an army. An army coming in our direction? Imam alayhi salam says, strategy. Bani Asad, tell me, give me a strategic position where I can take protection and defense from the geography of the place, that I'm protected from one side, and I confront the army on one side only. Incidentally, Imam alayhi salam, the previous night, at the time of Fajr, had already instructed the youth in the camp, in the caravan, to collect water as much as they could in all the containers that they had. Around the time of Dhuhr, the army arrives. It's about 1,000 strong under Horr bin Yazid al-Riyahi. It's Dhuhr, it's hot, they're thirsty. Imam alayhi salam welcomes them, offers them water, not only the soldiers, but also the horses. At the time of Dhuhr, Imam alayhi salam tells Hajjaj bin Masroor, give the adhan please for salah. And then Imam alayhi salam emerges from the camp, his tent, wearing his simple shirt and loincloth and the Arabian na'alayn. He praises God, addresses the army. We are here on a peaceful mission, he tells them. We're not here for confrontation or hostility. I don't know why you have come, but let me tell you why I have come. Imam alayhi salam tells them that, أيها الناس, إني لم آتكم حتى أتتني كتبكم. I came towards Kufa because I got messages from Kufa. And I got messengers coming from Kufa to me in Mecca. أقدم علينا ليس لنا إمام لعل الله أن يجمعنا بك على الهدى. We don't have an imam. Please come over. You lead us to guidance. والحق. So, إن كنتم على ذلك فقد جئتكم. So if you are the ones who also wrote me those messages and letters, then here I am. وإن لم تفعلوا وكنتم لمقدمي كارهين انصرفت عنكم. But if you are not amongst those, or no, you'll change your mind, no need for any military engagement, I'll go away. Interesting. The response was silence. They didn't say anything. So Imam alayhi salam tells Masroor, give iqamah, let's pray salah. He tells Horr, what do you want to do? Go and pray with your army, and we pray with my followers. Horr said, no, I will join you in prayers. Horr, it seems Muslims could not ignore the fact that Hussein is Sayyid Shabab Ahl al-Jannah. When you get a chance to pray behind him, obviously you will pray. بل تصلي أنت ونصلي بصلاتك, he says. After Salah, Imam alayhi salam goes back to his tent. Horr's army is camped nearby. Very hot, between Dhuhr and Asr, extremely hot. So they say the soldiers were taking shade of their horses. Time of Asr, Imam alayhi salam announces, again, another adhan, but prepare, we're leaving. Again, he prepared for Salah. They came and joined behind him for Salah. After Salah, he addresses them a second time. Because he got silenced the first time. So what's your decision? So Imam tells them, أَمَا بَعْدَ أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ إِنَّكُمْ إِن تَتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَتَعْرِفُوا الْحَقَّ لِأَهْلِهِ يَكُنْ أَرْضَى لِلَّهِ عَنْكُمْ. You must be mindful of your duty towards God. Don't do anything to disobey and gain the displeasure and the wrath of God. Recognize where the truth is. Find out who are those people who are the truthful leaders, and then follow them. And in case if you're confused, let me remind you, وَنَحْنُ أَهْلُ بَيْتِ مُحَمَّدٍ أَوْلَى بِوِلَايَةِ هَذَا الْأَمْرِ عَلَيْكُمْ. In case you don't know, then we are from the progeny of the Prophet, and therefore we deserve to be the leaders and qualified to be the leaders. مِنْ هَؤُلَاءِ الْمُدَّعِينَ مَا لَيْسَ لَهُمْ. Not these leaders who claim authority but they're incompetent. No, they're oppressive. You doubt it? Tell me what's happening in Kufa. The climate of bribery and oppression and military threats. So you know where the truth is. Why don't you declare your loyalty? In abaytu, but if you refuse to make your decisions, then no need for military engagement. Allow me to go away. Horr says, I'm sorry, what are you talking about? I didn't write a letter to you. Imam says, yes, but then I've got thousands here. And he calls his companion, bring those two huge sacks filled with letters. And he pours them out. He says, look at all these letters. Horr says, I didn't write. The army said, we didn't write these letters. Horr says, but I've been instructed by Ibn Ziyad to arrest you and to take you to Kufa for the sake of the bay'ah, to surrender to Yazid. Imam Hussein alayhi salam says, over my dead body. Sorry, that's my interpretation. Meaning that I will prefer to die rather than to go and surrender to the evil in Kufa or in Sham. Horr is a bit surprised. He says, all right, so why don't you give me time? Let me correspond with Kufa. Let me get the next instructions what to do. So meanwhile, Imam Hussein alayhi salam begins his movement towards Kufa. Horr stops him. So in this push and pull, finally they land up on the second day of Muharram in Karbala. Imam alayhi salam asks, what is the name of this place? And he's told that this place is known as Karbala. And Imam alayhi salam, because this happens after the response that comes from Kufa that says that Horr, use all the force that you have to bring Hussein here. If he refuses, then drive him to a dry spot in the desert where there is no water, there is no greenery, and you must wait till my further instructions. So now the full military force is being used against Imam Hussein alayhi salam to force him to say yes to evil. At this stage, Imam alayhi salam, once he learns his Karbala, says, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-karbi wal-bala. Oh Allah, I seek protection from afflictions. I will fast forward to the day of Ashura, because that is where Horr, his true character, displays itself after Umar ibn Sa'd gives the order and the command to attack. Imam Hussein alayhi salam addresses the army which had assembled there against him. He addresses them twice. In that address, he explains who is he, why is he there, and why they have no right to confront him militarily. Horr now realizes that he had a very wrong impression and an assumption that this is just a peaceful task for which he has been sent to come and escort Imam Hussein alayhi salam so that a peaceful agreement and compromise is made in Kufa. But now they're realizing the wolf has shown his teeth, and the wolf is bloodthirsty. So Horr, interesting, one of the companions who was there with Horr, he reports, so apparently he must have survived Karbala, and later on historians have recorded from him. He says that I saw Horr behaving in a strange way on the day of Ashura. Horr went to Umar ibn Sa'd and he tells him, Umar, أَمُقَاتِلْ أَنْتَ هَذَا الرَّجُلِ? Are you planning to go and kill and spill the blood of this man because you have become a very non-compromising commander? Umar ibn Sa'd says, إِي وَاللَّهِ قِتَالًا شَدِيدًا. There will be a fierce battle against this rebel group. أَيْسَرُهُ أَن تَسْقُطَ الرُّؤُوسِ. And you will see heads rolling on the ground. وَتُطِيحَ الْأَيْدِي. And you will see hands dangling on the bodies. Give you a violent war. But Horr says, but the man is making a proposal, a compromise, a settlement. Allah said, if it was my choice, I would have accepted it. But you know and I know, we've got a commander who's bloodthirsty over our heads. And I'm listening to him. That's when Horr realized, no, this is much more serious than what he had anticipated. And therefore now this companion says, Horr asked me on that day, have you given water to your horse? And I said, no. So Horr tells me, don't you want to give water to your horse? Why don't we take him to nearby the river? So I saw a surprising demeanor in Horr. He was behaving as if he didn't want to fight. And later on I discovered he was looking for a way to escape and to switch sides. And he says, I wish I knew what his plans were. I would have joined him and I would have also switched sides. Liar. He survived. Horr was the first man who came to the battlefield. If you really wanted to switch sides, why didn't you do after Horr? Liar. He survived, he engaged in war, and now he comes and records and tells historians what happened with Horr. Horr crosses over, comes to Imam alayhi salam. He says, Inni wallahi ukhayyaru nafsi bayna al-jannati wal-nar. I've reached a point in my life where I know right now a decision that I make. Should I stay with Umar ibn Sa'ad's army? I'm going to Jahannam. If I save myself and go away, I have saved my life. But I've left Sayyid Shabab Ahlul Jannah in danger. I see myself between Jahannam and Jannah. And wallahi, la akhtaru ala al-jannati shay'a. The Sayyid Shabab Ahlul Jannah is here. I have no choice. I can't be with Umar ibn Sa'ad. I can't escape and run away. Sayyid Shabab Ahlul Jannah is here. I have no choice. I am going to switch sides. Wallahi, walau qutti'tu wa uhriqtu. I swear, even if I am chopped up to pieces, I will not abandon Hussein alayhi salam. That's the reason we respect Horr. He comes over to Imam and he presents himself. He says, I swear if I knew this is what they were planning to do with you, I would have never intercepted your army. I would have never forced it to stop going to Kufa. I would never forced it to come and rest here in Karbala. But I didn't realize. It's just in the morning today I realized what was happening. هَلِّ مِنْ ذَلِكَ تَوْبَةً. Do you think my repentance will be accepted by God? And I'm the one who has caused all this. And Imam alayhi salam says, Na'am, yatubullahi alayk. Allah will definitely accept your tawbah. Because ultimately, had it not been you, somebody else would have been given the order to carry out this heinous crime. So Imam says, please, come down from your horse. And Horr says, no, for me to be a horseman right now for you is better than me to come down on the ground. Horr comes to the battlefield. He addresses the people of Kufa. Ya Ahl al-Kufa, may your mothers weep over you. Ada'awtum hadha al-abd as-salih. You are the ones, not me, you are the ones who invited this righteous, honorable, pious servant of God. Interesting, he's not saying this is Sayyid Shabab Ahlul Jannah. This is the daughter of the son, or this is the son of the daughter of the Prophet. No, he's a righteous man. He has got no crime in his record. What is the justification for you to treat him and mistreat him this way? And now he has come and you are attacking him. And not only him, look at the way you're treating his women and his children. And you're blocking him access to water. Water where your animals can go. Water where the swine, the pig can go. Where the non-Muslims can go. You are treating him worse than animals. You're treating him worse than non-Muslims. And he begins his battle. And the beauty of Horr and the Arabs, of course, is that in the battlefield they would declare who they are. إِنِّي أَنَا الْحُرُّ وَمَأْوَى الضَّيْفِ أَضْرِبْ فِي أَعْنَاقِكُمْ بِالسَّيْفِ عن خير من حل بأرض الخيف أضربكم ولا أرى من حيف. If you don't know who I am, let me introduce myself. I am Horr, and I'm right now here as a host to this guest. I am going to apply my full force to smite your neck, and I am going to protect the best ever man alive on the earth. And I'm going to strike with all my force, and I know this is full act of justice. If you want to summarize Karbala, what is the spirit that motivated and animated and made these companions eternally virtuous? This is the battle cry of Horr, which summarizes that. He manages to fight bravely. 40 people are killed by him. Finally, his horse is hamstrung and he falls to the ground. But he doesn't surrender. He continues to fight from the ground till finally he is killed. But he doesn't die immediately. The companions come to him, they lift his body and they bring him back in his last breath to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Imam wipes his face and Imam tells him, أنت الحر كما سمتك أمك. I swear, your mother gave you the right name. Horr means you're free. You are free, not intimidated by military threat. You are free, you can't be bought by money like the other Kufans were. You are free, your mind cannot be deceived by the media. Truly your mother gave you the right name. وأنت الحر في الدنيا. No, more important than that, because of your freedom and independence in the dunya, you are hur fil akhirah. And finally, a marthia is recited. Interesting, I have not come across marthia being recited, but he's one of the first martyrs to fall. So it is said that some of the companions or the son of Imam Hussein or the Imam Hussein alayhi salam himself recited this marthia for Horr when he dies. لَنِعْمَ الْحُرُّ حُرُّ بَنِي رِيَاحِ صَبُورٌ عِنْدَ مُخْتَلَفِ الرِّمَاحِ وَنِعْمَ الْحُرُّ إِذْ نَادَى حُسَيْنًا فَجَادَ بِنَفْسِهِ عِنْدَ الصَّبَاحِ. Horr, praise be to you, congratulations. You are one of the best sons from the tribe of Bani Riyah. Brave, patient, persevering, determined, full of resolution, despite facing a whole sea of swords and spears, especially when you came to defend Hussein, and that also amongst the first warriors who defended Hussein. Assalamu ala Hussein, wa ala Ali ibn Hussein, wa ala Imam Hussein, wa ala Ashab Hussein, jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.